Audio, use separate audio device to play. Join. Interesting. Sync buttons on headset. All right, are we good? Let's see, volume. No. All right, let's go. So let me start. My name is Valerie Lamp. We have assembled in a very short period of time several people with diverse backgrounds, but we're coming together to stand united against racism, against anti-Semitism, against homophobia, and just against inequalities in general. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves in a moment, but just to give you the background, the reason we're here is there is an Oceanside sanitation commissioner. It was written up in the Herald. He was elected, and unfortunately, after he was elected, it has come to light that he has been the author and responsible of many posts and memes regarding hatred and all of the things I just mentioned previously, as well as targeting the disabled community and children of special needs. I have to say, this really rocks my world. I thought we were much further down the road in terms of progress, but we're here. There's three things. This is a call to action, okay? There's three things that we want to see happen. Number one, if you're listening to this, Mr. Hemsley, we would like to ask for you to do the right thing and step down. This is a hurtful, horrible situation, and you have to give your community the opportunity to heal. And the only way to do that is to rightfully resign and seek some help. This is not, you won because of the votes that you garnered, and people believed in you and your character. Had people known about these incidents prior, I don't believe you would have won. That said, the second thing is, we'd like to call on the local officials, the local elected officials within all of the town of Hempstead. Oceanside is within the town of Hempstead. And we often hear them speak out against things like anti-Semitism and racism and how there's no room for it in the town of Hempstead. Well, here's your chance. Now that you have a name and a face to stand up and speak out against them. We know, because we're told you can't fire this person and you don't have the authority to do so. What you can do is what we're doing, which is to ask him to resign. And the third part is we want to see the town of Hempstead, as well as the sanitation department, bring in a diversity consulting firm. We have been asking for it. Diane Madden has been asking for it since several months ago. We believe it's much needed, and we believe that you have the money, and this is how we're going to implement change so that things like this don't happen anymore. So with that said, I'm going to kind of go around the clock here clockwise. I'm going to start with Mr. Bradley Perry. If you can unmute yourself. Let's do a 60 lightning round in the interest of keeping this hopefully, you know, well-timed. Mr. Perry.
Okay. I am Brad Perry. I'm from Oceanside, and I've been here about 15 years. And some of the dialogue that I've seen expressed on the different Facebook pages is really horrendous. And I think it's really time that something be done. And the only way anything can be done is if greater awareness occurs and the call to action. And I think that's possible, because right now it's not reaching out to enough people. And there are people there defending some of these actions as jokes or edgy comments, and that doesn't do it. You know, it may, and you don't see them posting anymore. So I really feel that it's time for people to really step up and speak out, and we need to do something, because even though we have progressed as a great deal, there's still much work to be done, and individuals like this make us go a step backwards. So I'm here to do what we can do in our little community, and I think more people are supportive. I just think that they're quiet, and the awareness. It's like Ari was talking about. There should be a news day, or should be there should be a greater follow-up in the Herald, or you just can't do it on Facebook. So I think this is it's just not town of Hempstead or Oceanside. It's really what happens in society. So
Right.
we'll see what we can do.
I
Thank you
for being on the call. No, and I appreciate everything you just said. And speaking of the joking factor, these aren't jokes. This is anyone who believes that this is wrong doesn't make those jokes. It's really that simple. And the apology, I need to address that really quick. The gentleman, Mr. Hemsley, after a few days, he did admit to posting these comments and memes. However, it was such a lame apology. It was basically like, yeah, I've made some mistakes, haven't we all? That's not a mistake. My version of a mistake is when I spill coffee or I stub my toe. This is malicious. This is intentional, and it spreads hatred. That's why I won't even share it. I won't share the memes and his posts because I don't want to fuel the hatred. So just do the right thing and step down. Mr. Ari Rosenblum, nice to see you.
I'm here.
Unmute. Great.
I just, somebody texted me about 25 minutes ago. Ryan Hemsley posted again. He would like to apologize to the residents of Oceanside. And I know most of you will not believe, as I'm sure you have your minds made up. So now they're all his posts. So when he started, when the story broke and the commissioners got their packets of posts, he said none of them were his posts. That's what he told the Herald. He told some commissioners they were jokes. He told other commissioners that they weren't, not all of them were his. And then he had two other apologies where he admitted to posting some of them, and it appears from today's post about, like I said, 25 minutes ago, they're all his. And he thinks that he can apologize. Listen, like Valerie, like you said, what's a mistake? This isn't a situation where a guy made a joke on one post and he had to resign. This is somebody who's a serial. I don't even know what the count now is, to like 40 to 50 posts already that I've seen.
Right.
And then there was one this morning that got posted about an hour ago from 2019 where he called essentially African Americans coloreds, which
I saw that too.
Which is a term, that it's not 1953 anymore.
One is worse than the next. I will say that.
What I went and I searched, and that post is actually still on Facebook. So whenever he says the commissioners told him to delete stuff, he obviously didn't delete everything. And a lot of the memes and whatever are posts from comments he made on a friend's page, whose the friend is no longer on Facebook. Ever since the story broke, the friend's page went down. And I guess, in terms of cleaning up stuff on Facebook, he's done a pretty bad job of it. And like Brad says, you get a lot of people just making excuses for it. They're jokes. They were meant in jest. I mean, I don't make jokes like that. I'm not, it's just not funny. It's hurtful, and
Very.
It's just disgusting. And, I'm shocked that, like, I wrote to Councilman Desposito, never heard back. I called Kaminsky's office. They were obviously a lot more attentive, but, it's amazing that none of the media except for the Herald has covered the story.
Yes, and thank you. I'm going to actually jump over to Marvin because I'm aware he has another appointment. I don't want to make him run late. So good morning, Wolfpack United. Oh, unmute.
Unmute first, yeah, I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who is in this meeting right now. It just goes to show how we do have people who do support and want to see for a better change. This problem is something that is definitely deep rooted, like very systematic and deeply rooted in everything in the world today. And it's up to us to really make them feel uncomfortable, to really not allow them to to continue to think that it's okay for them to move in this kind of manner, for him to have felt comfortable enough to think that this was a joke and post something like this just goes to show that the audacity that he has, or even the line of thinking that he has. And honestly, I think the best decision, and for him to just come out and just be able to openly apologize for it as if it's just something that that's gonna pass over, just goes to show how clear that of a problem that this is. This, after you sent me all of the posts, it was like, it was amazing to me, because I did see he had posted a comment from one of the posts, and I frequent this place too, Ben's Crabs, and he said that it was a little dark in there for him, and I'm like, wow, that's like that really kind of hit the, it was like, it really kind of hit me in my heart. I'm like, yeah, that, like, I could have possibly been in there and we could have crossed paths and enjoyed a cool time, like, but you completely took yourself out of that because of whatever you have in your head. It would be nice to see the town of Hempstead, and I'm hearing you guys talk about the media and with like them not covering the story, and this is something that, you know, I'm used to. I'm used to the stories not getting covered and it getting washed under the rug. But like, again, it's about us coming together and really putting it on blast, putting them on notice, and letting them know that we're not here to stand. Racism is not here. It's not profitable. It's not here to stand. We're not here for it. It just doesn't make sense, and it's time for it to end here and now. Thank you.
Marvin, really quick, I know you've got to go soon, but you know, I'm going to throw this out there to everyone, but I know since you have to leave, I wanted to kind of bounce it off of you about what do you guys think about like a collective united march or something like that in the future, where we can pull in the entire community of all of these demographics who have been hurt and offended, as well as all the people who love. I mean, look, I'm not Jewish. My fiance is. His family obviously is. And, you know, I'm not Black, but I have lots of Black friends, customers, everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, we can all come together and really, then we'll get news. You know, if we come together, like Oceanside is diverse, like the town of Hempstead is diversity, like America is. This is a diverse nation. We have to, I think, stand together, and maybe a march is in order. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea, and I think the best time to probably do it is during one of the town hall meetings, and just go right up there and just let them know that we're all going to be right there. You know, it's time to get everybody together if everybody can make it and come down.
Right, and they obviously do it to work on these hiring practices, because I recognize the format. The town ratified a contract. They didn't actually hire this person, but because they ratified this contract, number one, it doesn't mean that they can't call for his resignation. Anybody can do that. We're doing it now. But number two, obviously, we have to get better hiring practices. In what world do you hire someone that you're stuck with for life? Marriages aren't even always eternal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's ludicrous. Anyway, thank you so much, as always. I'm going to reach out to you soon. We'll talk about maybe coming together for a march or a protest or something.
I'm always available.
You're awesome, Marvin.
Thank you.
Joyce, keeping it clockwise. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, we'll just go. Joyce, hi. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Sorry, Di, I kind of skipped you just now. I promise I'll circle back. Thank you for joining this call. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you. I don't have to repeat everything that was said. I agree with everything that was said. We'd like his resignation. He may not resign. We then have to decide what we want to do going forward, as you began to discuss. And I believe it's worth having a meeting to discuss tactics after we think about it. A march may or may not be a good idea. It may be better to have a group of people band together, because marches now are thought to be having to do with other issues. And I don't want people to say, oh, this is just another march. So I think we have to go past that. I think we have to plan for something after the election. Some of these politicians may not want to support us because there's an election right around the corner. So we have to see how they will feel once the election results are in. I've been very naive. I grew up in Brooklyn, live in Oceanside for 30 years, and within my little circles, you don't see this. I am a member of another organization where I started to hear anti-Black and anti-Jewish comments. And it was very upsetting to hear that. I put it down very quickly, but it's here. It's here in every neighborhood.
Yeah.
This is somebody, if Mr. Hemsley, I know I'm taking a while, but if Mr. Hemsley had truly been sorry about what he wrote and embarrassed about what he wrote, he could have done a lot more than what he did. I don't believe that he is sorry. I believe he is sorry. We feel that way. So I think we have to turn this issue into a more global issue rather than just about him, but using him as the focal point.
Well, again, you know, and thank you. And this is, I agree. Look, this is not personal. It doesn't matter what this person's name or background is. It's the actions that matter. And that's what should be addressed. And he should, again, do the honorable thing and remove himself so that the community can start to heal. The diversity consulting group is a great start so these districts can show that they're addressing these issues. And, you know, that's what we want. Okay, let me switch over to Diane Madden. Hi, Di. Good morning.
Hey,
Unmute.
good morning, everyone. It's great to see some new faces, and thank you, Valerie, as always, for giving us a platform to express ourselves. We know very well, if anyone's been to a Town of Hempstead meeting,
Oh, no.
be able to communicate with the board. That doesn't happen. So what I want to talk about, I think it was Bradley that had mentioned the need for awareness and, you know, the media. And that's so true. But what's interesting about that and the connection to the fact that the town officials have been completely silent about this, and despite the fact that the supervisor recently made a comment and a statement about being disgusted about anti-Semitic remarks and discrimination, and he's held 2 press conferences, yet not a single whisper. And the reason for that, I believe, is because that would raise further awareness to the fact that it's within our own town. And also the fact that it would be an admission of guilt, that there's a lot of work to be done in the town of Hempstead to steer away from this kind of philosophy that causes division. So, you know, I'm just really happy to hear that people are now more than ever coming together. I think we have a government that is so accustomed to people getting tired, and quite the opposite right now. Everyone's getting fueled to stand up and speak up louder when things like this happen. And I think it's important that we do that. And I'm glad to participate and join in with making this town more friendly to all races and religions and beliefs, because the way it is geared right now is solely to bring in the people, which is probably how this is there, are loyal to the party and are protected by the party. So, and that goes for both parties. I don't mean to insinuate that this is solely a Republican issue. We've seen the same things happen under Democratic leadership. So, and in reference to whether this should be raised louder, you know, and wait for this election, I always feel that every second matters, and the sooner we can raise our voices about this in some way, the better.
So thank you, Diane. And I just want to, I don't know if you guys can see my screen. I'm screen sharing. There's an article. Now, what I want to point out is this, 2 things. This is in the Levittown Tribune. The date on this is October 14th. And I believe that the Herald article that came out regarding this issue with the Oceanside commissioner is dated October 15th. So this is the day before the article. You would think, I would think, that all of these elected officials who are standing in front of graffiti would come forward and in a united fashion stand against these acts of racism, anti-Semitism, anti-disabled, and homophobia. I don't even know if I miss anything here, but it's easy. I said this to other people. It's easy to stand in front of an anonymous source and condemn it. Now you have a face and a name, and you have a long history. Like Ari said, this is not a one and done situation that, you know, the person just made a horrible comment one time. This is an absolute pattern of behavior. So again, we are asking the town of Hempstead officials to intervene. I'm shocked they haven't already. I do want to thank Senator Kaminsky and Assemblywoman Griffin, even though I didn't vote for them, but you know, they did call out immediately and ask for the resignation. And I believe every elected official should, every single one. Assemblywoman Miller, you know, Don Clavin and the entire board. Anyway, sorry, I get heated. Next up is Stuart Kroll. Stuart, are you unmuted?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
good. All right, good. First of all, I appreciate everybody being here. Second of all, I have to say I'm not terribly interested in this guy's apology. You know, I think that he's gone past the point, you know, whether he cries a river of tears or not. I think what he's done is so heinous that you can't apologize for something like that. I mean, I think the only thing he can possibly do is just, as people have said, is just resign, you know, and let everybody get on with things. And you know, as heinous as what he did is, I think what's even worse at this point is the town's lack of response. You know, because I mean, there you're talking about a whole multitude of public elected officials. You know, what can you say? I mean, I spoke, as I told you, I spoke to the town board attorney, to Rich Regina, the other day, and he told me the exact same thing, that they can't force him to resign. And I said, well, you can certainly advise him to resign. And I think clearly you know, I mean, social media in this regard is great, but I think we need to take tangible actions, you know, regarding the newspapers, you know, so we could go down to Oceanside and do something down there. I mean, there are a lot of things that can be done, but I think time is of the essence, and I think something definitely needs to be done.
Okay.
You know, I don't think these people, I don't think this guy is going to do the right thing and resign. You know, because apparently they don't intend putting a great deal of pressure on him. And I also agree, we obviously do need a diversity, you know, counselor in Hempstead, and, you know, their hiring practices are, you know, great if we were living in 1950, but we're not. You know, and I think, look, none of these people are going to do the right thing. I mean, the only way they're going to do it is if we increase public awareness by getting to people beyond social media and forcing them to do the right thing.
Thank
So
you, Stuart.
you're quite welcome.
Appreciate it. Before I jump back to our last person, I just also want to mention a point of frustration for me personally. Whereas 2 meetings ago, I believe, or so, I've attended a lot of Town Hempstead board meetings, both in person and virtually because of the pandemic. And, you know, so about 2 board meetings ago, I asked if they had budgeted for a diversity consultant firm to come in. And they could do it on all different, you know, price points. But anyway, the next day I was on the phone with one of the council people, and I basically had this vibe as if, because I'm normally an animal advocate, that's my primary reason for going to these meetings. And I was kind of told that I crossed the street, and kind of meaning like, you know, it's a very like stay in your lane type of message. And I got the same thing actually yesterday. I was speaking to a different council person about this, asking them to intervene. And I don't believe there are any lanes. You know, I'm not interested. So if I'm an animal advocate, that means that I can't, you know, stand up against things like this. That's ludicrous. You know, I can have more than one issue. I can have as many issues as I want. As far as I'm concerned, the only lane that there is right and wrong. Anyway, just a point of frustration there. Sorry, I had to vent. Lisa Maria, so glad you could join us. Can you unmute, love?
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much for the invite.
Oh, my pleasure, of course.
So very briefly, I'm a new resident to Oceanside. We purchased our home about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm Latina. I have a special needs child. And when we first moved to Oceanside, I couldn't understand what the big deal was over sanitation. We come from Queens and Brooklyn, and in those towns, sanitation picks up the garbage and that's it. So when I joined like the Facebook pages of Oceanside. I was like, what's going on? Like this sanitation, this vote, like what's happening? So I started looking into like who was running and the candidates and stuff like that to inform myself. And I came across this guy and I looked into his personal page, which at that time was public. And he had all of these horrendous things posted on his page. And I had noticed on other pages, he was commenting with a lot of horrendous things.
So you saw it before he got elected?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I actually sent a screenshot to Anthony D'Esposito on Facebook. I messaged him and I did get a response. And basically his response was that there was nothing that he can do. The question that I asked him was, is this allowed? This is allowed to happen in Oceanside? This is what you have running and nobody says anything, nobody does anything? And he's like, well, it's a vote and, you know, we just agree with whatever the people vote for. So at that point, I was so turned off. I've never voted for sanitation. I absolutely refuse to vote. And now that it's all coming out, I'm so hurt to see that the community is not demanding his resignation immediately. I'm so sad. I've met a lot of great people in Oceanside, so I can't say that the entire community. But as a Latina and as a mom of a special needs child, it's so hurtful. It's like my neighbors don't want me here. That's basically how I feel at this point. I'm not wanted. My children are not welcome here. I'm not welcome here. Because if they're willing to back and support this racist man, and they're so concerned about his children and his wife, what about my kids? You know, how is that okay? I'm beyond. Anyway, I'm going on and on and on because it's so frustrating.
No. I first of all, yo soy Latina también. Mi mamá es de El Salvador. And I completely understand what you're saying, and I agree. And this is the thing, you know, I have a decent rapport with Councilman D'Esposito, and you know, I believe there's always something you can do, even if it's just something like this, where you take a stance. You know, I understand that they can't fire him. We can't fire him, right? I can't fire him. I don't. You know, we don't work for the town, whatever. We don't work for the sanitation department, but we can come together and call for his resignation. And that's what we want them to do. Every town of Hempstead representative. Councilman Blakeman is Jewish. Where are you on this, Councilman Blakeman? He has denounced anti-Semitism every opportunity he gets until now. And he might turn around and say, oh, well, it's not my district. It's the town of Hempstead. And they ratified this man's contract. So we are asking you, all of us and many more, all of Lisa Maria's friends and family, all of Bradley Perry's friends and family, Ari Rosenblum, Joyce Lipton, Stuart Kroll, Marvin Amazin, Diane Madden, and myself, on behalf of us and everyone who loves us and cares about us and doesn't want to see this hurtful type of messaging exist with an elected official, stand with us. Stand with us, Senior Councilwoman Gooseby, who won a historic court case as a Black woman and was appointed her seat. Where are you, Councilwoman Gooseby? Where are you? Please join us on this call. And the entire board. Don Clavin, who loves to point to graffiti. It's not the first and only time he's done it. That is an anonymous source. You now have a face and a name, and you now have a really big problem. What are you going to do about it? All right. That said, everyone, I want to let you know where you can find this. This video will be posted to a relatively new page. It's called Town of Hempstead News. And I want to thank all of you for being on this call. And I think that we should all stay connected and work on what we have to do next if things don't get resolved. All right, so again, thank you very much. Town of Hempstead News on Facebook. And please, you know, share it, and we need to stand together and fight together. Okay, thank you everyone. Everybody wave. Everybody have a great day. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye guys.